Greetings my movie geeks. Last time I talked about TV shows. I listed 6 of the worst TV endings. They're not the worst, they just happen to be the first on the list. I'm back to talk about some other TV shows that ended leaving the audience scratching their heads. Here's 5 other bad TV endings. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and ring that bell to be notified every time we release a video. Hit the bell. Do it now. The Final Frontier. These were the voyages of the first starship called Enterprise, a series that I never got on board with until after I met Scott Bakula at Destination Star Trek in London. I left the convention and began working my way through the series. Star Trek Enterprise was encumbered with a number of problems, mainly being set before the original series and having visibly better technology. Yes, they made sure their technology wasn't as advanced, but it just didn't look like 60s futuristic technology. That's my opinion anyway. Well, until the late series. Enterprise got 2 seasons until it was ordered for cancellation. After a letter campaign from fans, a number of changes were ordered by Paramount for the renewal of Season 3. This included the title being changed from Enterprise to Star Trek Enterprise. Season 3 was a long season arc that again I wasn't on board with. Despite there being some good episodes, the Xindi plot to destroy Earth was long and arduous, and in my opinion it's understandable why it was again up for cancellation chop. But it survived for one more season. This season is where my interest peaked. It was enjoyable, with arcs lasting 2 or 3 episodes, and it set the groundwork for linking to the original series. It was more Star Trek than it had been over the last 3 seasons. Sadly, the finale of the 4th season ended up being a holodeck reenactment of the final voyage of the NX-01 and of the forming of the Federation, as watched by Commander Riker from the Next Generation.
Computer, freeze program. Save from this time index.
I understand the show was being cancelled and there needed to be some kind of closure, but the episode was rushed and felt like a cop-out for the end of the best season of Enterprise. But hey ho, never mind. We're still getting Star Treks every so often, and the finale of Enterprise was even referenced in the Amazon Prime animation Star Trek Lower Decks. So you got that.
I'm sorry I'm late. I was watching the first Enterprise on the holodeck. You know, Archer and those guys. What a story. Those guys had a long road getting from there to here.
Scott Bakula can't catch a break. Well, he got 4 seasons of Enterprise and 5 seasons of Quantum Leap. Long before he took control of the Enterprise NX-01, he invented time travel, making a quantum leap, if you will. As Dr. Sam Beckett, he was trapped leaping into the bodies of people in different time periods, putting right what once went wrong. Dean Stockwell played Al, Sam's friend and occasional hologram who communicates with Sam during his leaps. A simple sci-fi premise that is a great way to have a different show every week. From storylines involving different historical events, and people including Buddy Holly, Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley. It even included an episode where Sam leaps into Lee Harvey Oswald. Would Sam have to shoot the president, or was he there to save the president? Watch the episode, it's great. But it would be the final episode that split for the fan base. Sam leaps into a small mining town and discovers that he is himself. He meets a bartender, and the patrons of the bar are all faces from his previous leaps. One eventually leaps out right in front of them, and the bartender just doesn't bat an eyelid. Is he God, fate, or time? Sam is told that he has the power to control his leaps. He can leap home whenever he wants. But Sam leaps back to a previous leap, to Al's wife, to tell her that he is still alive in Vietnam.
Al's alive. He's coming home.
I think the sad thing about this is it was told to us on the screen. Sam never returns home. So he's still out there somewhere. Buffy the Vampire Slayer wasn't supposed to be as big as it was. but it made an impact on the pop culture zeitgeist, with its witty dialogue and fun action. After 3 seasons, Angel, played by David Boreanaz, spun off into his own series, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer went from strength to strength, even killing off the main character in season 5. She came back, of course, and for a whole season afterwards she didn't feel she was part of the world. Then season 7 happened, and it was a full season of "this is the end" storyline. The biggest, baddest Big Bad was back and was bringing all of hell through the Hellmouth in the form of the first vampires. It's an interesting concept, and I didn't really hate the final season, but it just didn't feel like Buffy anymore. It felt too serious, too much like doom and gloom, and not enough that made the series popular to begin with. Did anyone else not like the ending? Or, at least, find season 7 hard to watch? Because I did. Let me know in the comments below.
What are we gonna do now?
Personally, I was at the right age to love The X-Files. The Monster of the Week episodes, along with the overarching conspiracy storylines, worked to its benefit. But I'll admit, some of the conspiracy arc did become a little long-winded, and by the end, it had run out of steam. Add to it that David Duchovny had decided to leave during the last 2 seasons. It felt like it should have maybe ended then. But it didn't. Duchovny would return for the odd episode, and he returned for the series finale, which would go out of its way to explain everything. The 9-year history of the show. It was a closed courtroom with a hell of a lot of flashbacks. It worked slightly, but even as a staunch X-Files supporter, it was a little bit of a letdown. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy it at the time, as Mulder was returning, and I'll also admit that I enjoyed it on a recent rewatch. It probably didn't help that most of the stories from the early years of the show had been answered prior to Mulder's departure. But there we are. I'd also argue that ignoring the 2012 plot setup in the finale wasn't carried over to the movies or the revival series. It just made the whole finale fairly moot. But hey ho, it's the X-Files, and it's still fantastic. Another series that I enjoyed, but was on and off with, was Smallville. It followed the early years, decade, of Clark Kent as he gets used to his powers. He also took a decade to learn how to fly, get a costume, and become the greatest superhero the world has ever seen. But that's just complaints with the show. It was good, especially when they started bringing in more DC characters to fill out the universe. The finale was something that I was excited for, because the classic Superman suit had been teased for a hell of a long time. But because the show had no tights, no flights rule, Clark finally donning the suit literally took up 2 minutes of screen time. And it's never fully seen. He's never fully in the suit. It's this that brings the majority of the disappointment. The finale was a 2-episode event that could have seen Clark become Superman. They could have had him Superman for the majority of the 2nd episode. But no, we got 2 minutes of distance shots. Not good enough. Luckily, we've now got Superman and Lois, which gives us an established Superman in a show that we've all wanted for a long time. Well, I say we. We in the UK still haven't got it yet.
There you go, friend.
Thanks. Cool costume.
Thanks. My mom made it for me.
That's 5 more TV shows that ended badly. I'm Nate, the Ultimate Movie Geek, and if you like, why not like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified every time we release a video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.